In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the Fusion Tables control component with Google Fusion Tables. This application is taken from the tutorial. I'm going to focus on the tables and not on the App Inventor components. If you go to Help, Tutorials, and then check on Data Storage, and Filter, then you will find this Pizza Party with Fusion Tables. And this is the tutorial I'm talking about. It's pretty good, but it didn't quite tell me everything I needed to know. It took a long time for me to get it to work. I don't know if there have been recent changes in Fusion Tables or what the deal is. A few of the key instructions are fairly vague. The app I downloaded from here. If you look at the bottom of my browser here, you can see it has an AIA extension, which is fine for importing. Earlier it seemed to have an HTML extension, so I just renamed it and then loaded it. And anyway, this is where you can get it, and this is what I have here. If you look at the blocks, there are some parameters that need to be filled in, and we'll also have to upload a key file just as we would a media file. But that's for later. Let's start out by creating our Fusion tables. This you do in Google Docs. Hopefully you're reasonably familiar with Google Docs. When you create a new item, you should see Google Fusion Tables as one of the options. If you haven't, it's because you don't have the Fusion Tables app yet. So you have to go to Connect More Apps and then find it, and then it should appear on the menu. So let's go ahead and create a Fusion table. Won't need this tab anymore. We will create an empty table. It comes with a default set of columns for the table, one of which is location, and we already have a map here. Google Fusion Tables are frequently used to make maps. That's not what we're going to do here. We're going to have to change these columns, and this is based on the code in the app. You can check it out for yourself. I'm not going to do that now. What we have to do is click Edit and change columns. The first column will be a date, and we'll change that to the proper data type. The next column will be the customer name, and that will need to be text. The next will be the pizza type, and that will also need to be text. Then the drink order, also text. And we'll have to add another column here. So new column, and this will be the comment. And that's already text, so we're in good shape, and click Save. Now let's make an entry here. This is a little different from a spreadsheet, even though it kind of looks like one. If we click on this column and click the editing pencil, we get a form to fill out. And I will put today's date in here. I will put my name here, the kind of pizza I want. And let's see, I'll have a beer. And I'll just put hello in the comment box. I click Save, and we have an entry here, but things are pretty crowded, so let's grab the field boundaries. This is just for cosmetic purposes. It's not a requirement for what we're doing here, but it'll make things look a little nicer. Okay, so when we get our app going, I'm hoping these things will show up. Let's give the table a name. Again, this works a little differently from other Google items. It gets us a dialog table. And I'll just call this pizza orders. And save. Not sure what the problem is here. There we go. Okay, and I'll just refresh this so it shows up in the tab. There we go. All right, let's see. We don't need this anymore, so I'm going to close it. While we're here, let's get the table ID. And we find that in File, About This Table, and gather this code here. This is an identifier code. It's not for security. Let's go back to our app, and this is where it has to go, is the table ID. So I'm going to paste it here. And it's important to make sure you didn't pick up any spaces at the beginning and end. This looks right. I'm going to click home, and there are no spaces at the beginning, so that should be okay. Let's go back to our table now. There's nothing else we have to do here. The next thing we have to do is set the sharing option. So we go up here to share, and right now it's private. We have to change that, and either of these options will do. I'm going to choose the more conservative one and click Save. And now anyone with the link can view. Later on, we're going to put something in here, but we're not ready for that yet, so I'm going to close this box. Now we're going to publish this, and that is under Tools, Publish, and if I hadn't changed the sharing at this point, we would have got a complaint here. But I did that, and we're fine, and what we need to do is grab this link to the table and copy it. Now, you may have noticed that when we were sharing, there was also a link to a table, but that's a different kind of a link, and that will not work with the App Inventor component. This is the one we need. So we're done with that. Come back up here, and this is where we want to put it, in the table URL. So I will paste this, and it is huge. It goes way out here, but that's the one we need. Okay, at this point, we have to create a service project. You don't know what that is yet? I will show you. We need to go to the Google Developer Console. That is at console.developers.google.com. I've been there frequently while I was figuring this out, so my browser remembered it. That's where we need to go. Right now it is set to one of my practice projects. You will need to, if you're doing this for the first time, there will be no projects here. I could create a new project by choosing this menu item, but I think what you will see is probably this page, since you don't have any projects yet, and you will have the option to create a project. But either of these will work, so you can create a project here, or you can click on this thing. And what shall I call this? I will call this, I don't know, Pizza Fusion Table. Okay, it apparently does not think my name is unique enough yet, so it's appending this with a number. Let me call this for my class Android. Whoops. Android. Okay, it wouldn't have mattered if I'd used that name with the number, but I just feel my creativity is being challenged here. So I created a sufficiently unique project name that I'll get the same ID as the name, so fine, and we'll create the project. And I've noticed that this can take some time. Okay, this big blue box is prompting me to enable the API, that's Application Programming Interface, that I'm interested in. If that sounds like a lot of gobbledygook, don't worry about it. Most of the complexity is hidden from you. If this handy box were not here, I could go to API here and do the same thing. But I'll just go ahead and click this, and the Fusion Tables API is rather far down the list, so you have to look for it down here. And we click that, and click Enable to enable it. Okay, we have another handy prompt here, but this is not where we want to go. We want to go to Credentials over here and choose some non-default options. And actually what we want to do is then click this box. And what we want is a service account key. Just trust me on this. So we're going to create a service account key and drop down this and choose New Service Account. And we need to give this a name. It will be like an email address. Remember, we needed an email address. So I'll just call this, I don't know, student. Doesn't matter. And you may want to copy this right now. You'll need it later, or there's another place you can get this later on. So that's what I'm going to do. The type of key we need is a P12, and then we create. And this is a file that I'm going to save to my desktop. And later on, we're going to have to upload this just as we would a media file into our app. So I'm going to save this. Come back to that in a moment. I find this box kind of confusing. It gives us a not very complex password. I have not come upon a use for it yet. You can make note of this. This is just the name of your file, so there's nothing secret about that. So I'm really not sure what's going on here. I think you can safely ignore this right now. Now that's done, we need to retrieve that email address. And let's see, where was that? I think by clicking on Manage Service Account here is where we can get it. And yes, indeed, this is what we want. So, and there's no spaces in here, so it will be easier to copy it. So I'm going to just select this and copy it. And there are two places this has to go. First of all, it goes into the service account email in your app here. I'm going to paste this. And you have to realize this is not a real email account, you know, with a person behind it. It's just kind of a conduit to give you permission to access the Fusion table. And speaking of which, we now go back to the Fusion table. I told you we'd be returning to share. And we also paste that email address here. We're inviting this proxy, if you will, to have access to our table. And you'll notice that it can also edit it, which is what we're after. Since this is not a real person, there's no point in notifying it. Click OK. Click OK. And now this proxy email is listed here. We're done with that. And we should be ready to roll with this thing. Okay, sorry, I forgot something. What we have to do now is upload that key file that I talked about. And for that, we have to go to the designer view and select the Fusion Tables controller. And you'll notice this box here for the key file, so we'll click on that. And as I said before, it's exactly like uploading a media file. So let's find that thing. Here we are. It's the key file with the P12 extension. So open and OK. And it has uploaded. And now we should be able to run the emulator. So I'm going to start up the companion again and start the emulator. And once again, I'm going to go offline until everything is ready. Okay, the emulator is running. Our app is running, and the web browser component is showing the record that we've already entered on the Fusion table. The trick, oops, there we go. The trick will be to enter a new record. So let's see if it works. We'll enter my son here. He's a vegetarian, so I'll give him a cheese pizza and a ginger ale. And I'll just put hello world in the comment here. And here comes the big moment, submit. Just take some time on the emulator. I don't know if it would be faster on an actual device. Haven't tried it yet. Aha! There we go. Okay. This is not refreshed yet. Let's see if our Fusion table has refreshed. Put the emulator aside here so that I'll be able to see it. And refresh. Okay, there it is. Interesting. The date was in a different format, but that's from the app rather than locally, so it's using a different format. Let's see if this is refreshed yet. Okay. Maybe that's a bug in the app or something maybe you can modify. But anyway, I hope that's helpful, and good luck with Fusion tables.